This week, discover what World of Tanks developer Wargaming gets up to when it's not making games. We chat about the upcoming free-to-play reboot of Command & Conquer and take a look at Beyond Two Souls, which is out next week for PS3. This is Player Attack. In the news this week, video games are being blamed again for a child's violent behaviour. A 9-year-old boy has faced a Florida court after reportedly taking multiple weapons, including a handgun, a steak knife, and a sledgehammer, to school. The boy was charged with possession of a concealed weapon, possession of a firearm on school grounds, and possession of a firearm by a minor after teachers found him showing off his new toys to his classmates. The gun did have its firing pin removed, so it was unable to shoot anything, but the boy took a magazine full of bullets with him as well. According to the boy's father, he was acting out a character he learned in a video game, Minecraft, a title that is used in many schools as a learning tool. The boy has been sentenced to home confinement, and his father says he is no longer allowed to play games. On to something completely different, and Valve has detailed exactly how it'll be taking over your living room next year. First, we learned about SteamOS, a new Linux-based operating system and dedicated to gaming. Then we learned about the hardware you'll be installing SteamOS on. Forget what you thought you knew about the Steam box. Now we're talking about Steam machines. Not one, but multiple hardware solutions designed to handle the fact that entertainment is not a one-size-fits-all world. Of course, we don't know what form these new machines will take, but there should be a Steam machine to fit most needs. But that's not all. Valve has also revealed the Steam controller, which has been designed to work perfectly with the new hardware, the new operating system, and a whole stack of Steam library games. The first thing you'll notice, no analog sticks. They've both been replaced by two circular trackpads, which work both as a directional tool and as a large clickable button. There is also a touchscreen in the centre of the controller that can be used as a second screen, a new input device, or simply as another oversized button. Rather than traditional rumble, the new controller uses haptic feedback to give you a bit more of a tactile experience. While SteamOS is promised to be out soon, both the Steam machines and Steam controller will not be widely available until 2014. However, if you want to get in on the action before anybody else, Valve is offering 300 lucky gamers early beta access, but you will have to complete a quest to be considered. Now, speaking of gaming in your living room, Microsoft has given you another reason why you should get an Xbox One. It will help you get fit. We're not just talking about rhythm games, dance titles, or sports simulators. Instead, Xbox Fitness takes things to the extreme. The premise is simple. A whole stack of fitness videos, including brands like P90X, Gillian Horton, and Insanity, will be available on your console. But it's not simply a case of watching them from your couch or making half-hearted attempts to copy the pros. Kinect 2.0 precision technology means that Xbox Fitness will be able to monitor the tempo of your movements, track the muscle groups you're using most, analyze your form, and even read your heart rate just by looking at you. And trust me, it'll let you know if you're doing it wrong. Grand Theft Auto 5 won't measure your heart rate, but it'll probably get it racing with a 3-album music collection launched on iTunes. If you want a compilation of the game's original music, the score, and a selection from the soundtrack, you know what to do. Meanwhile, the franchise has finally branched out into multiplayer as Grand Theft Auto Online launched this week. Developer Rockstar Games preemptively apologised for the inevitable teething issues and asked for gamer feedback from day one. Of course, gamers will always find something to complain about, and this time it was microtransactions. In-game cash packs are available in denominations of 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 and 1.25 million, and you can pick them up with a handful of real-world cash, that is, if you want to. Something else you can try out if you want to, The Evil Within, the new one in the works from Resident Evil creator Shinji Mikami. be Mikami's final project as a director, and it's due out on Windows PC, PS3, PS4, Xbox 360 and Xbox One sometime in 2014. Believe it or not, South Park The Stick of Truth has finally been given a date. You will be able to play as New Kid next to Stan, Kenny, Kyle and Cartman from December 12th on PS3 and Xbox 360. If you're looking forward to the PC version, the release date will be revealed at a later time. And finally this week, to movie news. Aaron Paul will no longer be gracing our screens as Jesse Pinkman in Breaking Bad, but this is not goodbye. As one door closes, a window opens, and in this case, it's the window of a very fast car. That's our first look at the upcoming film adaptation of Need for Speed, due for cinematic release next March. Paul plays street racer Toby Marshall, seeking revenge on the wealthy businessman who had him framed and sent to jail. He stars alongside Dominic Cooper, Dakota Johnson and Michael Keaton in what's described as a throwback to the car culture films of the 70s. To keep up to date with the latest gaming news, head to playerattack.com, but for now, stick around, we've got plenty more still to come.
So our last project at Wargaming was to bring up a Dornier 17 bomber that crashed 72 years ago during the Battle of Britain. After it dropped its bombs on the city of London, it was returning and it was shot down by a British fighter, crashed into the channel, and it's been there since. It was covered by sands. It was in a place off the coast of Kent called Goodwin Sands, and in 2010, they found it basically on a side-scan radar mapping of the area, and clear as day, there was a bomber on the bottom of the ocean. It's about 50 feet down, and working with the RAF Museum at Cosford and Hendon and other entities that got involved, we were able to bring the plane up. It successfully came up on Tuesday this week, and now it's being loaded onto a lorry where it will be taken off to the museum for display and conservation. Wargaming has sponsored it's the Wargaming Conservation and Education Center at Cosford RAF Museum. It might seem a little strange for a video game company to sponsor things like archaeological excavations, recovery of lost aircraft in the English Channel, and other similar projects, but history is the DNA of our company. So for 15 years, we have made games about military history, and our company is filled with military veterans, history enthusiasts, we have pilots. We love this stuff, and we want to make sure that it's conserved for future generations so they can go see it in museums and be inspired the way we have. We're working with museums and universities in partnership to curate and build the exhibits and multimedia around it, smart apps and so forth, to help a younger generation better connect with and understand things about their history and our common heritage. My last project involved running an archaeological excavation in Burma, because ultimately what we were doing is investigating the legend of the Spitfires that were reportedly buried at Mingladon in 1945 and 1946. And like any good legend, there was a kernel of truth at the heart of it, which ended up being endlessly fascinating. Going forward, you will be reading more about tanks and planes and ships and other historic vehicles that have been lost to time that we either conserve or build exhibits around or go and recover. We have a fascinating group of people in this company, including our founder, Victor Kisley, who basically his whole life has been gaming in some form, whether it's playing chess or designing games, making games, many of them about military history from Napoleonic era up through the modern day. So it's just something we love. And we have the financial wherewithal and the connections to go and do cool things. And we believe that we do well by doing good.
Hi, this is WWE superstar Daniel Bryan, and you're watching Player Attack.
The SteelSeries Siberia V2 is remarkably comfortable. The oversized ear cups fit snugly but don't squeeze, and the resizable headband will fit just about anyone's head, even if your skull's on the larger side. The Siberia headset comes with a short USB lead, complete with inline volume and microphone controls. It might seem a little odd for it not to be any longer, but it is perfect if you are using this headset on a laptop. At home on your desktop, you can just plug it into your keyboard or use the extension cable that comes in the box. Another handy inclusion is a retractable microphone. Other gaming headsets have made the microphone detachable, so you risk losing it. Others leave the mic in your face, which is nice if you're an airline pilot, but kind of irritating for everything else. The Siberia V2 microphone slides out when you need it and hides away neatly when you don't. One design feature that frustrated me was the fact that these are designed to work on your PC or Mac and nowhere else. To utilise some SteelSeries specific features, it has given the Siberia V2 its own USB sound card. Of course, this means it uses a USB plug instead of a headphone jack, so you can't just plug this one into your iPhone or your console. A couple of other very minor complaints. They're not very flexible, which makes it almost impossible to listen with one ear. You won't be acting out any DJ fantasies anytime soon. Slightly more irritating is the amount of audio bleed. If you're wearing these because you've been told the game's too loud, they won't really help your case much. However, for those of you who are into case modding, the limited edition heat orange model of the Siberia V2 headset is certainly a statement piece. Match it up with a Cougar 6HM6 Challenger case and a Gigabyte GA Z87XOC motherboard, and you're on your way to a very sexy rig. And yes, these are very orange and very bright. There are programmable lights on each ear cup which can flash, pulse, or respond to audio triggers as you hear them. Sure, you can't see them, but your buddies will know they're there. A word of caution though, if you are not in the market for a new nightlight and you plan on using the Siberia in your bedroom, you might need to tweak your settings so you can get some sleep. So, want one? Thanks to our friends at SteelSeries, we have a nifty prize pack to give away. A Siberia V2 heat orange headset, a Sensei optical mouse, and a quick gaming surface. This is your last chance to win one, so head to playerattack.com, follow the links to the SteelSeries competition, fill out your name and contact details, and enter this week's key feature, which is on your screen right now. The competition is open to anyone in Australia, and this is your last chance to win, as entries will close on October 9. The winner will be announced on Player Attack shortly after. For the full terms and conditions, see our website.
Frostbite engine game, which is the same engine as Battlefield. So, in my opinion at least, we are the most technologically advanced real-time strategy game on the market. We're free to play, which is pretty exciting. So you can just go download the game once you get in the beta and play it. But we've been working for a while because we want it to be good. We don't want to just come out with a game. It has to be the game. It has to be Command and Conquer, because that means something. It's important. So we really dug into it.
You have a lot of very demanding fans, I know, and some of them have felt a bit slighted by some of the previous games in the franchise. I hear you guys are working really hard to redeem yourselves.
Oh, very much so. I think Command & Conquer kind of lost its way for a little while. It had gone in directions that really didn't suit CNC. And one of our main goals was, let's make CNC again, make it Command & Conquer. Because we want our fans to come back. We love our fans. As angry as they get at us, you know, that they have right to be angry at us if we don't do what they want, if they don't give them a game they want to play. But we really think with this one, it is a game people want to play. It's super fun. It's accessible, it's got a wide variety of options, and we plan to sort of grow and iterate it over the lifetime of the game, keep adding content, new ways to play, and really communicating with our fans to make sure that what we're doing is what they want.
One thing that has already changed since the game was first announced is the title. When we first heard about this was Command & Conquer Generals 2, and now it's just gone back to the basic title. What was the reasoning behind that?
Well, when we started out, Generals 2 was a boxed product. It was more of a traditional Command & Conquer game. And when we switched to free-to-play, we wanted to sort of expand the purview and basically make it a platform, something that, starting out in the Generals universe, but growing. We could roll in Tiberium, we could roll in Red Alert, we could roll in something all new and exciting. There are many ways we can go, but so we didn't want to limit it to just being Generals. We'd rather start with Generals because honestly, there have been the least amount of Generals games. Everybody loves Generals, so we thought, let's start there. And then, assuming people love it, which I think they will, keep adding to the game, making it all Command & Conquers.
There are obviously some pros and cons about going free-to-play. There are going to be some of the old-school fans who just go, oh, it's diluting the franchise. But at the same time, there are going to be a whole bunch of new gamers who are going to go, this is free, I can play it even if it sucks, I haven't really lost anything. How do you guys find the balance between those two very, different audiences?
Well, what we wanted to do was really open it up because, RTS I think is occasionally unfairly thought of as a niche genre, when in fact millions of people play RTS games. So we really wanted to sort of open it up and be democratic, and by making it free, if you're not sure, you can download it, you can play it. If you don't like it, you don't have to play it anymore, but you probably will, at least that's what I hope. And yeah, I agree. Some of our, long-term fans are worried, essentially, that we're stepping away from, real strategy gaming. And I can say we hate the idea of making CNC pay to win. CNC will never be a pay to win game. It's all about giving you options, really letting the player have more control of what Command & Conquer is, so we can have an ongoing conversation. And because it's free to play, it's a live service. We can just keep updating the game. So, if people want, we've heard a lot of people who say they want campaign. There is potential to add campaign. It's all there. If people want more ways to play deathmatch, we can do that. More factions, more universes, whatever. We can do the whole thing. And that was really the benefit of going free to play.
You talk about RTS games being a fairly niche title. These days, most people know StarCraft is an RTS. It is the biggest in the world. It's also really big on the esports scene. Is there any potential or any idea of taking Command & Conquer into that sort of world?
Yes, we're definitely looking into esports. We have esports staff. But the key thing with esports is to be an esport, your game has to be ready to be an esport, which is why we're doing this very extensive beta, which you can register for. That's a subtle plug. So we can really make sure that our core gameplay is to the level of quality to deserve to be an esport. And we're definitely getting there. And it's one of our goals, but it's one of those things where the esports people have to kind of accept you, so we need to prove ourselves to them.
The story that we're trying to tell in Beyond Two Souls is a very, very big one, starring Ellen Page as a character called Jodie Holmes.
I was born with a gift. I see what no one else sees. I know what no one else knows. People tell me it's a blessing. It feels more like a curse.
Jodie's life, which you play through about 15 years of, it really spans a whole bunch of different areas and different parts of different expectations and all different things that she goes through. And one of those things that we've revealed is that she's actually recruited by the CIA as some kind of military operative. They're trying to take advantage of the fact that she has this connection with some kind of mysterious entity, which is kind of the seed that drives the whole story forward in all different directions in which it goes.
So when we saw it last year, it was in darkened alleyways and it was raining and there were police, and now it cut forward to this year and she's in some war-torn military setting.
Right.
What's going on there?
That's a good question. A lot of people have been asking it. So the story we tell is actually told out of chronological order. So when you play the game, one scene she might be 5, one scene she might be 17, and we're kind of jumping back and forth. So we've kind of done that a bit with the campaign as well. So last time she was on the run from the authorities, and we haven't explained why. And this time she's actually on the side of the authorities, and she's been tasked with a mission to take out a local warlord in Somalia, and that's kind of all we know. So it is a bit jumbled, but it all comes together at the end, I assure you.
I mean, it's a Quantic Dream game. We know to expect the unexpected and to expect to be fairly confused before things start, working their way out at the end. What's it been like for you working with a company that is as well known for being a little bit odd?
Well, so the thing is that they're very passionate, particularly David Cage, director and the writer. He has this vision and he sticks to it, and to be fair, they always pull it out of the bag. They are a fantastic team to work with because they just kill it every time, honestly. Everything they do is just on top. So everyone's always a bit wary going into a new project, where will this one spin off? But actually this is a really, really great story. It's quite touching in places, and I think it will speak to a lot of people because it kind of deals with things that everyone deals with in a kind of funny little way. So not everyone has a connection to an entity, for sure, but what it deals with is subjects like relationships, interpersonal relationships, and being forced into a situation which you didn't choose, and also bigger things like death and kind of what it means to be who you are. So those are kind of the topics that we're trying to address a little bit here and there. I know maybe it doesn't look like it from the action scenes, but I assure you that throughout the story, which, as I say, is a very big one, there's lots of different moments where we address all of those kind of questions.
One thing, Quantic Dream has sort of become known for making interactive movies, and that's one thing that with Beyond we've seen in a completely different element. The box art has actors' names on it, which is, I think, the first time that anyone's really seen that.
Well, the thing is that they're not just voices and they're not just faces, it is them. So Quantic have state-of-the-art motion or performance capture technology studios. So whereas in Heavy Rain their studio had about 28 cameras, this time around they've got around 64. So the fidelity that they can capture of the performances is much higher. And what that means is that it's worth investing in getting real actors, or actors who we know, because we've seen them so many times, we know they can deliver it. And then we can really translate what they've done on the stage, we've done together, and put it through the PS3, and it comes out exactly how they acted it, and it's awesome.
And that's about it for this edition of Player Attack. Thanks for watching. Next week, we've got a special treat for you racing fans as we catch up with Australia's own Xbox One racing team as they prepare for the super cheap auto Bathurst 1000. If you prefer things a little bit more on the PlayStation side, we chat about upcoming PS4 exclusive Drive Club, and if you couldn't care less about cars, how about a new PC? We check out the brand new Razer Blade, the world's thinnest gaming laptop. In the meantime, you can catch us on playerattack.com. We're on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter, and if you've got something you want to say, send us an email, mailbox@playerattack.com, or just hop on our forums. Till next week, I'm Jessica Citizen, and this is Player Attack.